Hey everybody, listen, I'm going live real quick because I'm going to prime these. We'll give everybody just a second to jump on, but y'all, it is really sunny out here, so I may not be able to see your comments. We'll see. I may have to bring it up close to me. So if you're on here and you have a question, I don't care if you keep repeating it, but there were a couple things I wanted to show you, so I'm gonna give everybody a minute that's off work to shut on. And y'all, I have my little tripod thing with some ferns beside it so the wind won't blow over, because every now and again the wind is blowing. Okay, now this is just the base of it, and this is the color that it was, but we're changing it. This will actually sit down in here, and the problem my mom was running into is this is filling up with water, and you know, after a while it can cause like algae, mosquitoes can get into it, so that's what we're trying to do away from. And I'm doing away from these colors. Let's see, I got a few people on here, but hey Helen, I don't see any questions, so like I said, just keep asking. So I'm gonna start on the bottom, and I think she was right, you know, she didn't worry about this down here, so we're just gonna prime this up here, and that way I've had this stuff outside, y'all, so it's covered in pollen, and I tried to wipe all of it off. I'm just using like a bullseye 123 primer, because the main reason why I want to go ahead and prime it is because I'm going to seal this together, and then I'm going to show you how I do a sealant, because we're going to fill those sides up with epoxy, or what you would call I guess it's just epoxy. But y'all see how she's got this porch paint or whatever this is on here, so I'm really gonna have to lay the primer to it. I'm not worried about the bottom right now, but because this thing is going to be at least in 2 pieces, and the bottom will be pretty heavy, you know, this is not something, you know, especially the bottom, that you want to paint after you get it all together. And you know how I am about underneath and on the back and all that, as long as you don't see it. And since this is a white color, and probably the base down here, the background of all the rocks and stuff is gonna be white, I really could just do a few coats of this. But we're gonna put this to the side, and we'll do this other. Let's see if anybody has any questions so far. No. Hey, Dolores. Okay, so we're outside, y'all. It's so pretty outside, but the wind is a little, if all of a sudden I start going like this, it has blown it over. But it's too pretty not to be outside, and I'd rather do this outside than try to do one of these little ones on my little tiny disc for y'all. But I want y'all to see in the background, my trees are blooming. They only bloom for about a week, y'all, so we get to enjoy them right now. And as soon as they quit, they're not Bradford pears, y'all. I'll have to look up what the name is. It's like a weird name. It's not like Yosemite Sam, but it's something weird like that. I'll have to look it up, but they're really like the lightest little blush pink. And they only bloom. There's been years that we've only gotten like 3 or 4 days out of them. But I think they actually come all the way out Thursday or Friday. So we're doing really good that they're not already falling. But they're really pretty. Oh, Miss Carol, you're watching? She's right across the pond from me. I should have did the pond in the background. All right, so we're gonna move this to the side, or I can actually just put this on top of it, because I want to show you what happened. Don't know why it happened, but I don't want it to happen to you. All right, she's painted this, I'm sure, with some kind of porch paint, like an outside paint that's really good, and it could probably take this Georgia weather, but this was not out in the direct sun. Because it started filling up with water, she put it under her porch. So, but right here, she had like one of those thick, like you think a thick piece of jute or rope, that like a nautical rope around here. But the E6000 ate through the paint, if you can see. And this was chipping really bad, and then the rope just kind of looked terrible. So I'm maybe not going to put the rope back on there, and I'm not going to use E6000 to hold my things through. Hopefully using this epoxy and all that, we're not going to have it. So I did take, you know, just a little bit of this to like knock all like some loose pieces off. But so if you want to put a pot, E6000 on terracotta pots, don't like maybe go to the raw terracotta, glue it down, and then put your paint around it because it ate through her paint. Now it could be this Georgia heat, y'all, the humidity, the direct sun, it gets pretty hot here in Georgia. So maybe up north y'all wouldn't have those problems what she did, and I don't know what happened. I know E6000 will eat through like styrofoam, but I didn't know it would eat through any kind of paint. And I think she brought me whatever paint she used, but it's inside. So we're just covering up where she painted this, because y'all know I'm not going to do it back this red, but she said she gave me free reign. So I'm really going to paint it like a sand beach color and white. But we're going to have lots of seashells and things all over it, so it'll have character. It won't be just plain. It'll have character all on the bottom. Now this part really isn't as important because, you know, there's going to be 2 more layers that sit on them. This will be connected as one piece, and then the top piece is already connected. And I will grab that real fast for you and let you see. I'm not going to do anything to that part tonight. But I'm going to permanently put a bond where she'll have 2 pieces so she can move it as she wants to. And then look at y'all, look at the Georgia pine, all that pollen. And but I'm going to actually put this piece, these 2 will be together in this piece, so she can still carry it if she needs to move it. But I would suggest if you ever make one, whether it's small or big, make them like in a couple of pieces like this, because you may want to move them, freshen up the paint, and you know they'll be pretty heavy putting this all back together. All right, so there's that piece and this piece. Like I said, it's been outside. It's got pollen all over it. But see how like it kind of just ate through the paint? On each layer, she had like a rope. And you can't even see it. I need to... Okay. She had like a layer on each one, and it just kind of ate through the paint. And the rope could move. It didn't look so terrible, but I think if you're going to put them in something sunny, you got to think about how that material, that rope, is going to look after, you know, being in the weather. All right, so we got our this. Now, I'm not going to worry about the top because you'll never see it no matter what color. Actually, about a few inches down, you don't see it. But just at least go ahead and do it up to the lip. That way you don't have to worry about measuring it and seeing. All right, got a drip right here. All right, I'm going to move this one out the way so I can show you what we're going to do to this bottom. I just need to turn it over. Look, y'all, it's almost drying already. It's like 70-something degrees outside today. So we're going to go ahead and turn it over. Now, I don't have to worry about the center, because when I put this back on, you know, just like before, I really can just paint on the outside. And you know me, I'm going to do what you would never see. But I got 2 options for you. We need to seal this up somehow here. And not only seal it, but I want to also glue it together. There's a lot of seal, like I've got some sealant right here that'll seal this up. Well, water will never get through it, but if I ever picked it up, most of the time your seal is just keeping water out. It's not gluing 2 heavy pieces together. So that's why I went and got this liquid nail. You go over there like where your caulk is, and I believe you can get this in gray and clear. And I think this is a gray one, but you're not really going to see it. But it looks like this, and it says liquid nail on it. I mean, when this stuff sticks, this does not melt styrofoam, so you can use this to put like big pieces of styrofoam together. It does not melt it. It's really good. But what I'm going to do first is use this to actually bond the 2 things together. And then I'm going to come back on the edge and use this sealant to seal it up to where when we pour our epoxy in here to go up, we're not having to pour it all and waste it, because epoxy is really not cheap. Just to fill this up to the edge, and that way the water will run off of it and it won't fill up with water and get gross and yucky and slimy. Because that's why she couldn't put it outside, because she really likes this big lipped vase, and I do too, or bottom of the pot. But you know, filling it with water, you know, you'd have to clean it all the time, especially, you know, if you have trees nearby, like right now, pollen. It's a lot. So we're gonna paint this real quick, and then I'm gonna at least set it, and I'm gonna talk about the things that we will do tonight. But y'all, I don't know if that stuff will set. We may have to do it tomorrow, because what I'm gonna do is, once we seal it, I'm gonna put all kind of rocks and I'm gonna individually glue them down. But I'm only gonna use like my hot glue gun, because I'm just gluing them down because I want them to stay. Once I pour my epoxy in it, it might as well be like liquid clear glue. Once it fills all the way up, it's gonna seal and bond everything that you put in it. So as long as where the epoxy is, I'm gonna take just my hot glue gun, and we're gonna put all kind of rocks and shells up, probably maybe to the lip, just a little bit further, to give it like it's at the cliff of a beach here, like the lighthouse is on a cliff, not just like sand. Now, but above the epoxy, you want to maybe take a little bit of the liquid nail and just do it like you would glue. Put a little bit on the back of a rock or shell and put it on there. But like I said, if you don't get the clear, if you get the gray, now you are going to be able to see it. It's not going to dry clear. So be careful when you're using this liquid nail. Make sure you can't see it, because, you know, like it'll glue glass together, but you'll be able to see the gray glue through it. I want to say I think they make a clear, but don't quote me on that. Hey, and I wanted y'all to see this real quick. See, this is what Frosty Paws look like. They come in just a little cup. You buy 4 in a container. Here, Jake. Jake's out here, y'all. Been spoiling everybody some dinner sticks today at Costco. That sweet baby. Come here, Jake. Now, when I hand this to Sterling, y'all, she'll put her teeth on it, and she carries it to her rug that she likes to just sit there and lick it. And when I go and find this empty cup, it's like nothing was ever in it. Now, Jake chewed his up a little bit. But, Jake! He was just behind me, y'all. Oh, I see him. He's up there sniffing the ground up there, but I'll get him to come back. Maybe he's going to the potty. All right, so real quick, I'm just going to throw some paint on here, and then I'll at least let y'all see me seal it up, because it's not a big deal if there's a little bit of paint on there to seal it. And any primer will do. Probably an oil base is your best primer, but y'all, I do not like oil-based primers. You have to throw your brushes away. And I'm not going to get the mineral spirits out and doing all that. So like Kilts 2 and Kilts 3 are like my friend. Once they came out with that, it was awesome. And that's just a primer if you've never done any kind of painting. It's like the brand Kilts. All right. Gosh, it feels good. Like the sun went behind a cloud. And it's a little bit of a breeze out here. But it's in the 70s. This weekend it's supposed to get up to 81. So mama, all you coldies out there, I know y'all be glad that it's getting hot. And I'll be over here sweating to death. There's only so many clothes I can take off. You know, nobody wants to see tank top, Cynthia. Okay. And I'll put more layers on here, but I really don't have to have them on right now. And this stuff dries really fast. Let's move it out the way a little bit while it's drying a little bit. I will slap some on here. Y'all giving me any questions? Nope, y'all are just on here. I can see it a little bit now. The sun has went down a little bit, so I can see your questions. If y'all have any questions. We're already back from Augusta, and we went to like 5 or 6 different stores. We did speed shopping. I felt terrible. Couldn't find anybody to help me in Lowe's find some vermiculite. I needed some. for Buffy's like little plant she started for a vegetable garden. I mean, I even asked the guy that was working in the garden center, you know, hey, where, he sent me back to where the fertilizer for your and like grass seeds were. And I'd already hunted him down, and he sent me, so I was like, so we were in and out of there pretty fast. All right, so there's one. My paint's probably gonna have like a little bit of, now this one I have to do the whole thing. The top, let's see. Coming back. All right, the top. Mama didn't have this on hers, but I did. Look at the pollen all over it. But on the top, I didn't know which size I needed. That one wasn't too bad. But on the top, you know, it needs a little rail where the people have to walk around and look out, see if any ships are coming. But, you know, of course, it doesn't have the little hole on it. So I'm going to have to drill the hole. And I bought this for like $9.99 in Walmart. Y'all, it is covered in pollen because it's been outside. But you can't see just how pretty it is. And it's kind of expensive. You have to buy a bunch of these, but just buying one, it's going to be really pretty. But I'll actually drill the holes to fit this size, and I may put a dowel down in there just to hold it in case this ever, because this is plastic, if it broke, and that'll sit up right on top. But y'all, this glass, when it comes on at night, it comes all through these little tiny plastic pieces, and it's so pretty. But so we'll change it up just a little bit different from what she had. But what I'm going to do is put this piece, oops, you see I need to go a little bit further down. And this piece, I'll make this one whole piece for her to carry, and then the big one. So, I mean, they'll be a little bit heavy, but it'll be easier to transport than if you put it all together. I would not suggest, even if you did a downsized version of this, make it where you can take them apart. Because if, like, say if one broke, you can't get it apart to replace one. You never know if somebody, you know, drives up on your curve and you city folks and breaks your stuff. Hey, Ren. I see ya. All right. So let me get a little bit of this pollen off. To see, this is already kind of cracking right here. But the good thing about that, if it ever happens, go back with like your liquid nail, and you don't have to. I think the crack would give it character. Go back on the inside and put your like liquid nail in here, and that way you'll prevent it from cracking anymore. But you don't have to replace it. All right. So we're gonna do this one all over too. And I would bump this one with my sanding blocks. I may have to do that. And like I said, I think I'm gonna do it white and do this part. I really would like to get some sand from the Dollar Tree. And as nice as that Dollar Tree was today, it didn't have the little bag of sand, which I think our Dollar Tree may have that. And like, for the sides of it, kind of make it look like it's a little bit of stucco or something. Do the bottom white and do like the whole pot, like glitter the sand on there. Like paint it white and then sprinkle the sand on there. Because, you know, the paint won't come off, and, you know, maybe it'll just be baked in there. We'll see. I've never done it for outside, so I don't know how the Georgia weather, but I mean, it'll be white on the outside. And maybe on each one of these, we can put like a few like little shells or whatever as you're going up. I would love to drape like a net down the side of it, almost like a fisherman's net, but this Georgia heat would just eat it up. It would be pointless. All right, so I'm gonna take this and do this whole thing. Anybody, I hope nobody's asking any questions. I don't think y'all are. Look at y'all just wanting to watch what I'm doing. But as long as you have that liquid nail, this project is really easy. Because if you love terracotta, see, you could just leave it the terracotta color, which is really pretty, and do you like a little gnome garden. You can put your little characters on them. And it could actually be like a little gnome house. It doesn't have to necessarily be a lighthouse. All right. All right. I personally like a terracotta color. I do not like, you know, that red and all that. She had it painted, and her house isn't even red. I understand you feel like you got to, but her house is gray and white, almost darker than the, like a granite gray and white. All right, let's see. Let's get this out of the way. Put all my little fingerprints in it. All right, we got a drip there. Oh, here, Jake. Here's your frosty paw. Here. Jake. Here you go. You don't know Sterling. She knows to get it out of my hand and to go eat it. And she normally just lays down. He stands up the whole time and licks his, but now he is a hunting dog that I have spoiled rotten the past few days. All right, hey, Sin from Missouri. This is such a cute idea. Yes. Now, I didn't ever come up with it. A lot of people do these. It's just how you kind of want to paint it and glue it together. But I just want to tell y'all the mistake of whatever paint this was. And see, it's just about dry. So I'll probably put another coat on. I definitely will, because I got to cover up this blue. Because I may put a little, like a seafoam glue spray paint in the epoxy, so it gives it just a little bit of watercolor. But you will be able to see through it, just depending on how big. Now this right here, when you're using this, you know how it's small here and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, if you need to do a big project and you need it to come out pretty fast, you can cut it close. But if we want, I kind of want to be precise with it. So we'll see how just cutting about that much is off, because I really don't want it to go everywhere. And it just cuts really easy. All right, let me make sure. And I'll show y'all what it looks like. I don't want to, oh gosh, don't I have to pierce the inside? Watch this, and I didn't put pressure behind it. Where's my screwdriver? There it is. This is probably not how you do this, y'all, but you know, I'm a woman and I tend to use whatever tools I have close to me. Did you mean to leave a spot not primed on the large pit? Yeah, on the center, because I'm going to put this down right in the center, so it's not a big deal. But I did not mean to do this. Is that what you're talking about? No, I did not mean to do that. And that's right on the little imaginary door she had. Now, Mama, I'm praying this turns out good after I said I didn't like your red one. We'll probably add so much to it that it won't help but be cute. But we can't put bows and stuff on here. All right, so I'm going to move this a little bit down so I can tilt this. I think it'll be safer and smarter, because I'm not going to try to figure out, I'm outside, so I'm getting a little dirt, to try to figure out where it is right here. That, I don't think that would be really smart. And I really want it underneath. I'm going to put the sealant on the edge. So I really need the glue to be right here on the edge. So I think I'm just going to turn this back to me and hopefully maybe get it where y'all can see it. I can't move my camera. All right, there we go. I'm going to put it all on here. That way I can set it straight down. And it's not an instant bond, so if I had to pick it up and I didn't like it where it is in the center, I'm just trying to keep as much of the glue on this edge as I can. Because remember, on the outer edge, I'm going to put all that sealant so the epoxy doesn't run underneath it. Then you'll just waste it, because we're really going to come up high to the lip with our epoxy. All right, so here it comes. And see how it's a real, you can't probably see it, but it's a real light, maybe I have to do it with my finger. I'm trying to keep it on the bottom as much as I can. just like caulk. Now, if you're supposed to put gloves on with this, I guess if you work with something every day, put your gloves on it, but doing one project, I don't think it's gonna hurt me. There we go. Now this base is pretty heavy. So if there's like a weak space in this terracotta pot, you know, you could break it picking it up on the top. But it's gonna at least give it enough bond where if she picked it up on the bottom part, it's not gonna weeble wobble and fall down and all that kind of stuff. Wah! I see you. So, you remember when weebles wobble but they don't fall down? That was something when I was little. If I told my girls that, they'd be like, "Weeble what, Mama? You're not making any sense." Okay. All right, let me get back to putting a little bit. I'm holding it very close to it, and it's staying, it's pretty thick. It's not running as far as like it's not gonna drip. But there's some places I didn't get it very thick. Somebody's asking me, okay, no, I didn't say I don't see you. All right, let me get this off my finger and we're gonna set it down. And then I'm gonna put the sealant around the edges so that way that'll bond. And the sealant, I don't think the sealant takes very long because it's kind of like a gel. It just seals, almost like a liquid rubber. Okay, now let me, feel like I only have like one good chance. And like I said, your sealant is gonna seal the water, but I want these two pieces to be fused together. Like if one piece goes over, it's taking the bottom with it. All right, and I've got one little place over here that has a broken place in the bottom, or it's, the terracotta's a little weak, so it needs a little extra. Okay, now I think I only have a little bit coming out the side, so we'll just kind of run our finger. Because like I said, I want to be able to put the sealant around the edge. Okay, so that easy. And it just takes, I guess you can read on here how long it takes. Something that I really don't want to move, I'll give it more than 24 hours, but I don't think there's anything out there that takes more than 24 hours. I wouldn't think, but you know, I'm assuming. All right, freeze thaw, 40 degrees, water resistant, latex base, bridges gaps and offers up to 30 minutes working time. So maybe in 30 minutes, I probably won't be able to even move it, but you still want it to cure. So my suggestion is give it 24 hours, but it's looking like you don't have to even do that. Okay, so the sealant is the best. I don't have a cap. Yeah, I do on this one. Okay, so we're just gonna turn it. Most of them are sealed. And you can find sealant anywhere. You can find sealant in a big tube like that, but I don't need that much. Pierce tube, keep nozzle design open. Use the tube rolling pin, which you're supposed to like roll this out like toothpaste. I'm not doing that. Cure up to 24 hours. So you want to give it 24 hours. That's always kind of my go-to. If somebody says longer than that, I'm thinking that's like, you know, cement. All right, so I'm just gonna do a bead around it. Now, I could take my finger and worry about what it looks like, but remember, we're gonna cover all this up with rocks and shells. So this, I may not even worry about running my finger through it because I'm gonna really coat it on here. You can keep these tubes of sealant, but I mean, like, I probably wouldn't use it for another year, so I'm gonna really lay it thick on here. And I'm not gonna try to keep this bottle because I want to make sure that water, because if that epoxy, it has a one little hole to seep in there, I'll have to use triple the amount because I'll have to fill it up under the bottom, a place you would never see it. you know, the length of this, and that's kind of just wasting it. Okay, so I am putting it on here pretty thick. I'm leaving it, like I said, beaded up. You're not going to be able to see it. All right. And this will kind of dry sealant if you've never worked with it. Kind of dries like caulk does. You know, it'll be a little rubbery, and you'd have to get like a spatula or something to kind of get it off, and it'll come up as like one whole piece. But, you know, if you don't touch it, water can't get through it. So we're sealing it up pretty good. All right, good. I'm doing it pretty heavy, and I think probably don't need one whole of these, and I won't use it all. All right, let's see. Hey, Mahala. I hope you're feeling better. All right. And if I didn't move it, maybe tonight we can start putting our shells on here. Maybe it'll be okay. Maybe I'll see what it is if it starts setting up, where at least I can put the shells on here. Because like I said, we're just going to hot glue the rocks and shells all in the place we'll want them. Because once I pour the epoxy, it'll set it. Because if you just put hot glue shells and all this and put it out in the weather, that's not going to work. They're going to pop off. The wind's going to blow them. Your glue isn't made for that. Like your hot glue. Even that Gorilla Glue, I wouldn't trust that. Now, Gorilla Glue itself, when you buy it in a tube like this, probably would hold your shells on just fine. But not like anything you're going to heat up like that. That's temporary. That's for crafts. All right, it's hard to get down this little edge, but especially when it's getting low. And like I said, the only reason why I'm doing this is because I'm going to fill something on the side up, the epoxy, and so I need to stop any kind of flow from going under here. It would just be a waste on my epoxy. And I'll show you how I do that, because y'all, I love epoxy. It makes it makes things so cute. All you have to do is you can get just a clear. You put a little bit of spray paint in them, and you can change the colors on them. You can put glitter in epoxy. And it's really cute. Okay, I'm just kind of making sure I got all it stuck to the bottom and the sides. And then I'll kind of lean it to, well, I don't want to lean it to the side for you to see it. But I'll kind of maybe lean my camera if you can see it. Okay, I'm done with that. You finished with that Frosty Paw already, Mr. Piggy? Where's the dead soldier? Did you eat the paper? All right, I don't know if you can see this a little bit, but I've got it all right here. And like I said, I'm not going to worry about like caulk, having to smooth it down and all that kind of stuff. You know, just don't worry about putting your hands in it, because what I want to do, you're not even going to see it. All right, so that takes care of the top part, but let's put another layer of primer on it while I have it all here ready to go. And I take it she used like a porch paint. I'll have to ask her. She said she's got a ton of this white. But epoxy is clear too. So if you ever wanted, like if you wanted to paint this blue and kind of shadow it and make it look a little bit like water or something like that, and then you pour it your epoxy on it, you would be able to see your drawing through it. A lot of people do that. And y'all, I'm just doing this paint a little willy-nilly, not worrying about it because it's just, you know, my primer. I really don't want any drips, but I'm not really caring how I'm putting it on here. All right, let's see. Yeah, we got a little bit. Woo! Am I getting paint, splashing paint on myself? Let's see, what would you do with the hole in the pot? Okay, right here, we're gonna put this on top of it like so. Then we'll put this one here. I wanna make sure I didn't mess that up. And then our little top will go here. And then we'll put a light. So I actually have to put a hole in this one with my drill bit so we can put, and this, it looks so bad now because it got pollen all over it, but this will be the light that'll be on the top. And I'm gonna leave it black. You know, black really goes with a tan color, like a sand color really well. So I'm not gonna change anything on the light. I think they're all beautiful just the way they are. If you make a little bitty one, get one of those I think the Dollar Tree sometimes sells them, but they're only like 98 cents at Walmart, the smallest one. So you don't necessarily have to go to the Dollar Tree to get, you know, a little light. And you just take the bottom stem off, you know, like they come like this, and when you're staking them in the yard, you pull the bottom loose, turn them upside down, and you stake them down. And it's solar powered, so I'll have to open it up. I see a little tab to pull out in there, and it's solar powered, so you don't have to run any electricity on it, but you're not going to use this. That's just what comes on the bottom, but it slips right out. I didn't have to take anything apart. It slips right out the bottom. Hold on, I'm showing you and you can't see it. See it when you buy it, it's like this, and you just slip it right out the bottom. And it would be pretty cool if you could bring it inside, but there's no way for the solar power to get sun to light up. So you really have to, unless you want to put something battery operated in there, you really have to use, you know, you can't do it inside with the solar power. I did that one time, y'all. And in my mind, I don't know, I know what I was thinking, but I had like these ferns around my tub, and y'all know how I like to get in my bathtub all the time. So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to have any power around my tub. I'll just put these solar lights in my fern. I can turn the lights off, and I'll just have this garden oasis in my bathtub. Well, the next time I got in there, after the very first time, I was like, these lights don't work. And it wasn't until I went and looked at Chris, and he looked at me and gave me that look like, are you joking, or do you really not see it? That it dawned on me. I was like, oh, well, it needs sun. And he went, yeah. And I was like, well, thank goodness I only said that to you, and I didn't say it to anybody else. Because, you know, they would have looked at me like he did. You cray, girl, you cray. So, y'all know how blonde, I guess, sometimes when you say things without thinking about it first. And your husband gives you that look like, did I really marry her? Like, yeah, you did. I had kids with me because you stuck with me forever. Yes. And half my genes are in your daughter, so don't you look at me like I'm crazy or I don't have any sense. All right, let me get a little bit of that off of my, all right. So we're gonna move this over a little bit, and I am going to, which I probably, no, I don't want to put it on here to paint it. Let's see. I can move it over here. The paint's got this stuck a little bit to it. All right. No questions. All right, y'all holler at me. I wish there was like a alert, like you're like, alert, you missed the spot. Or I asked a question, why didn't you answer it? It's because I didn't see it. Y'all have to keep asking me questions. I don't care. When I watch somebody and they don't answer me, and there's only a few people on it, I'll ask the question again. Now, if you watch some crafter and she's got 4,000 on there, bless you, good luck, because I don't think she's ever going to see your comment. And I feel like, gosh, I hate the ones I can't ask any questions about. But did y'all see all that white rope at that store today? I got 5 rolls of it because I told Chris got in. I was like, they had the white rope. Of course, I say that to him like he knows what I'm talking about. And he's like, huh? And I said, this like white cord, and people have been using it on their crafts. And like, oh, at the Dollar Tree. Even the one I went to the other day that was really good too, it didn't have it. But y'all, they had like 10 little hanger racks full of it. They had 2 boxes right here. When you got down to the ribbon, they had another 2 boxes. So I did not feel bad about buying 5 little things of that rope. So don't make me feel bad about getting 5 rolls of it. All right, I think I got that one pretty good. So I'm getting white all over my hands. And this one, you know, remember it didn't slide under here. It slid under here a few inches, but this one, it's really close to the top. And then this one, you're going to see everything from the edge down. So just go ahead and paint the whole thing. You don't have to paint the insides. Now, that's up to you. That's kind of pointless. And we didn't. Alright, and I'm just priming them, y'all. And you wouldn't need but maybe 1 thing of primer. Terracotta soaks it in pretty good. 1 coat would have been okay, but she had some kind of enamel or porch paint or something pretty thick already on there. And somebody's here, y'all. Buffy's coming home. Y'all see her coming down the road? She's been to her Mimi's house. And she never wants to be on camera, so she's going to take the long way around. But I'm going to tell her everybody saw her pulling up. She's always worried about what she looks like. She's like, Mama, I don't have any makeup on. I'm like, listen, they're not going to show any guys what you look like. Okay, so we're going to put this on the top. So we'll put another layer. Because see, look, this is just 1 layer of just straight on the terracotta, and it gave you a good enough coat where I probably don't have to do this. I'm gonna do another coat just to say I did, but you know, and then you could put the paint that you're gonna use on here. And any paint will paint this. It just depends on, like if you use like acrylic paint that you have inside, it's gonna paint it and it's gonna look wonderful, but only for about 1 year. If you use a little bit of chalk paint, you probably can go about 2 years with it. Just, you know, spray like a sealant on it. She's stopping way out there, Buffy. They all saw you driving up. Jake, that's nothing to eat. But, you know, the nicer, thicker painter, you know, paint that's meant for outside, you're just going to get longer use out of it. Anything will paint terracotta. It really will. It's like a natural, whatever you call it, you know, material. But it just, depending on what you paint with it, is how long you're going to get out of it. Let's see. Gonna make it beautiful, Sin. Yes, I sure hope so. I think she's going to love it. And you can already see here, like on the sealant where I've got paint on it, it almost looks like crackle. It's starting to kind of, you know, separate a little bit because as it, you know, it's not going to let, this is a water-based paint, so it's not going to let me do anything to it. So that kind of gives me good hope that it's not going to get through there. And I wish I had the rocks out here to show. But there's a bag of rocks that I bought because I like the color. I don't have the seashells out here, but I did have a bag of rocks.
I saw it in between those plants, but I mean, I don't see it anymore.
Either. You didn't use them in the bottom of your plants for anything?
No, I already had a bag of rocks.
All right, well, I'll find all that before tonight, but I just wanted y'all to see, especially the sealant part of it. Now, you don't have to do this. But see how big, I mean, that's at least a 2, maybe 2.5 inch lip. If water fills up in that, I mean, like mosquitoes, the algae part of it. Now, if you kind of in that end of that pond algae look, then leave it open. But maybe even if you seal it up like this, at least maybe on the inside in there, you only have to clean the outside. So I would say definitely seal it, and then you'll keep anything from getting in there. Because like if a snake or something, that's for another show. Snake killers, snake wranglers. But let's see, you should turn the top piece upside down so it doesn't sit in water if it rains. Yes, that's the whole reason, Sonia, that we're sealing it up, because we're going to fill this up with epoxy. And we're going to make it look like the ocean, like we're going to put rocks on it and then some seashells, and then we're going to fill it up with epoxy so she doesn't worry about that anymore, because she likes the look of the lip. And plus, it'll kind of look a little bit like a bird bath, especially when we get finished putting shells and stuff in it. It just, you know, the water will come straight off of it. Look, I'm going to put my hand on it. All right. Well, I'll let you go. I just wanted y'all to see me sealing it up, and I'll probably go ahead and take the little pots and stuff inside, because I don't want these little things that are falling out the trees to keep sticking in it. But I will see y'all tonight at 7:30. What time is it now? Why am I want 5:45? So I will see y'all tonight at 7:30. The small piece on, okay, the small piece on top. Oh, you're talking about turn it over. Well, I can still do that to this part too. The only reason why I say I want to is because I want it to reflect the part at the top of a lighthouse that somebody walks around. So I can just put a little bit of glue around here. Even my hot glue gun will be a good enough sealant for it around the top. And I can fill that little bit up too with resin too. Probably help keep my light in place. But I do like it up to do that. The small piece on top. Will the epoxy turn yellow in the Georgia heat and sun? Well, that's why I'm going to tint it a little bit. If it turns a little bit, it's not the end of the world. I actually can put a little white spray paint in it and turn it white. But it could, but I've never put it I've never put it outside in anything that it wasn't tinted. So I'm not saying it wouldn't turn yellow, but the stuff like the blue kind of stuff, it's never turned that. So we'll see. I'll tell you, let me do it first, and then I'll tell you what not to do. But thanks so much, and I'll see y'all in just a little bit.